Hello everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel Gorai Studies. In this video, I am going to talk about design pattern. But design pattern is a large topic, so it is not possible to complete all the design patterns in a single video. So I am planning to create a series of videos on this, and I will cover all type of design patterns here in the series with theory and hands-on. So I can say, and I'm pretty much sure that if you go through all the videos and follow all the instructions what I give in each video, then end of the series you will be an expert on design patterns. So when we discuss about the design pattern, the first question comes in our mind is what is design pattern and where we need to use that design pattern, what is the use of that design pattern. Okay, so when we design or develop any software, then we face many problems. Some of the problems are common for all type of softwares. So to resolve those common problems, okay, the design pattern comes into the picture. So now when we need to use the design pattern to resolve all those common problems, those basically occurred during the software design. So as a definition we can say, also I write down here the definition that the design pattern is a well proved solution for commonly occurring problem in software design. Okay, so again what is that? The basically the design patterns are ideas and concepts. Okay, these are not implementation of any language. These are just the concepts and ideas, and those concepts and ideas we need to use uh, at the time of design a software. So this is the most important things that you need to remember, that design patterns are not an implementation of any language. These are the concepts or ideas. So as design patterns are the concepts, so these are common for all type of language. So the design patterns are same for Python or Java or any other object oriented supported language. Now, who introduced the design pattern? So long back in 1977, it was introduced by Christopher Alexander. But that time, it was not much popular. So when it got popularity? So in 1994, when the Gang of Four published a book, Design Patterns, Element of Reusable Object-Oriented Software. After that, the design patterns got much popularity in the software industry. Okay, so who all are the Gang of Four? I mentioned here the Gang of Four and the book name. And the Gang of Four are the Erich Gamma, Richard Helm, Ralph Johnson, and John Blasidas. Now coming to the types of design pattern. We have two types of design patterns. One is core Java design patterns, another is J2EE design patterns. But in this series, we'll cover mostly the core Java design pattern. So under the core Java design patterns, we have three types of design pattern: the creational design pattern, structural design pattern, and behavioral design pattern. Now coming to the creational design pattern. What is that? When we need to use the creational design pattern? So when we want to create an object, okay, you are design a software and you need to create an object, okay, that time the question comes in our mind that okay, how to get that object, how to create that object, what is the best way to create that object. Okay, everything is defined here in the creational design pattern. So based on the situation and the application of your software, you need to choose the creational design pattern, which type of creational design pattern you need to use. There are multiple, you know, creational design pattern. Here we can see the 5 types of creational design patterns we have. So these are the factory design pattern, abstract design pattern, singleton design pattern, prototype, and builder design pattern. So these all design patterns used at the time of object creation. To create the object, we need to use that creational design pattern. Now coming to the structural design pattern. The name of this design pattern defines that it will create the structure of the software, right? But you know, when we need to use that structural design pattern, okay, so when we want to compose two objects, suppose you have an object and you want to include another object inside that, then you need to use that structural design pattern. Suppose you have object 1 having some features and also you have another object, that is object 2, having some other features, and the object 2 includes the object 1, then we need to use the structural design pattern. Okay, so to compose 2 or more objects, we need to use this structural design pattern. But what type of structural design pattern we need to use, that completely depend on the application of your software, requirement of your software. So under structural design pattern, we have 7 types of design patterns. These are the adapter, bridge, composite, decorator design pattern, facade, flyweight, and proxy design pattern. Now coming to the behavioral design pattern. So behavioral design pattern basically we need to use, suppose we have two objects, okay, object 1 is having some features, object 2 also, having some features, but we don't want to compose them. Okay, we need to establish a communication between these two objects. Understand? Okay, the thing is that these two objects, we don't want to compose these two objects, but we need to establish a communication. So when we need to establish a communication between these two objects, then we need to use the behavioral design patterns. So again, under behavioral design pattern also, we have multiple, the design patterns. These are the chain of responsibility, command, interpreter, iterator, mediator, memento, observer, state, strategy, template, and visitor design pattern. Okay, and all this design pattern, we need to use based on the application or the requirement of your software. So under core Java design pattern, we have total 23 design patterns, and those we need to use at the time of software design and implementation. Now coming to the J2EE design pattern. So under this we have 3 type of design pattern. One is presentation layer design pattern, business layer design pattern, and integration layer design pattern. What is the presentation layer design pattern? Presentation layer design pattern is that where the user can interact. Okay, the UI, the user interface. This is the presentation layer. The business layer where you need to write the logic, the business logic. And the integration layer is that where basically we need to integrate with the third party or the database. So all these three layer we have under this J2EE design pattern, and each under each design pattern we have uh, different types of design pattern. Also you can see under presentation layer design pattern we have these many, under business layer design pattern we have these many, and under integration layer we have these two design patterns. So I will cover the J2EE design pattern also in a different series, but not in this series. In this series mostly I'll cover the core Java design patterns. Now coming to the advantage of the design patterns. Why we need to use this design patterns? Okay, what all are the advantages? But you know, as the design patterns are the well-proved solution for commonly occurring problems. So when we design a software or implement a software, then the problems, basically the commonly occurring problems are there. To resolve all those commonly occurring problems, we need to use this design pattern. So as the design patterns are the well-proved solution, so we can say it will speed up the development process. So we don't need to think on the problems when you design or implement the software, because the design pattern already giving us the well-proved solution. The second one is that it make the code more flexible, reusable, and maintainable. And the third one, the design pattern basically define the system architecture. Okay, basically they provide the solutions that helps to define the system architecture. So there are many advantage of the design patterns, but I just note down here the most important three design patterns. So for now, that's it in this video. In the next video, I will discuss on the singleton design pattern, that is one type of creational design pattern. So in the next video, I will do some hands-on also on the singleton design pattern. Okay, so thank you so much for watching.